How does a team win the Champions League, win La Liga, sign the best player in the world, and then somehow become worse? That's the question surrounding Real Madrid, and that's the question that I'm going to be trying to answer today. We have a lot to discuss, so let's begin. Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Mo and welcome to a special topic video where today we're gonna be discussing what's going on with Real Madrid and whether Kylian Mbappe has been the one responsible for the downfall of the Madrid-based club. Now let's backtrack to the summer of 2024 because that summer Real Madrid was at the top of the world. They won the Champions League, La Liga, and the Spanish Super Cup, and they did so in a very impressive way. In the Champions League, Real Madrid were absolutely undefeated. And not only that, on their way to claim their 15th trophy, they defeated the Premier League champions Manchester City in a penalty shootout and the German champions Bayern Munich in a 4-3 on aggregate, and eventually defeating Dortmund 0-2 to claim their 15th Champions League. In La Liga, Real Madrid were champions with 95 points, 10 points ahead of second place Barcelona, and in a league where they only lost one match which came at the hands of Atletico de Madrid, and not to mention that Real Madrid, in their pursuit of La Liga title, they defeated Barcelona in both El Clásico matches, winning 1-2 and 3-2 respectively. And even though Real Madrid did fail to win the Copa del Rey, they still found glory in the Spanish Super Cup by defeating Barcelona yet once again, this time with a 4-1 in the final in Saudi Arabia. Now in total, Real Madrid won 3 trophies and they only lost 2 matches in the entire season. I'll say that again. Madrid lost only 2 matches in the entire season, both at the hands of Atletico Madrid, once in the Copa del Rey and once in La Liga. And when Madridistas thought this couldn't get any better, Florentino Perez achieved what he had been chasing for many years, which was the long-awaited signing of the greatest player in the world at the time, Kylian Mbappe. And this, of course, sent the whole world into a frenzy, with people asking themselves, if Madrid have dominated Europe and Spain with their current squad, what are they going to do now that they have signed Kylian Mbappe? Surely they're going to be able to win everything, right? Surely we are seeing the beginning of a dynasty. Well, Real Madrid learned that in football, it doesn't work like that. Football does not work like FIFA Ultimate Team. Now let's look at the last 2 seasons, because ever since Kylian Mbappe has joined Real Madrid, it's been, a downward spiral for Los Blancos. The 2024-2025 season was the beginning of this downward spiral for Real Madrid, where Los Blancos ended the group stages in the Champions League in 11th place, having suffered defeats at the hands of Lille, AC Milan, and Liverpool. And of course, who can forget that quarterfinal exit after that thrashing at the hands of Arsenal, 1-5 on aggregate. In La Liga, Real Madrid lost both El Clásico matches, one 0-4 and the other 4-3 at the Camp Nou. And of course, they finished second place behind Barcelona, having suffered losses at the hands of Athletic Club de Bilbao, Espanyol, Real Betis, and Valencia. In the Copa del Rey, Real Madrid once again lost at the hands of Barcelona 3-2 in the final. And in the Spanish Super Cup, another loss at the hands of Barcelona 5-2, which saw the Blaugranas clinch 3 titles while Real Madrid ended the season trophyless. Now, Florentino Perez's response to this failure of a season was to sack Ancelotti and, of course, replace him with Xabi Alonso, with many Madridistas looking forward to the first edition of this new Club World Cup, excusing that winning it would mean that the last season was not a failure, because after all, the argument was, it is the Club World Cup, so the champion would be the world champion. So doesn't that mean that the winner would be the best club in the world? Of course, there's a lot of discrepancies in that logic, but assuming that logic true, let's see what happened in the Club World Cup because, well, Real Madrid did not become champions and instead they added yet another thrashing to their collection, this time at the hands of PSG, getting knocked out 4-0. But nonetheless, Real Madrid looked forward to the following season with a new coach and under the guidance of Xabi Alonso. But unfortunately for them, the 2025-2026 season would only be the same as the previous one because during this season, Real Madrid ended the group stages 9th in the Champions League, having suffered losses at the hands of Liverpool, Manchester City, and of course that thrashing at the hands of Benfica 4-2. And of course, they saw an exit in the quarterfinals once again, but this time at the hands of Bayern, 6-4 on aggregate. In La Liga, Real Madrid are currently second, 14 points behind Barcelona, having lost 2-0 this weekend and seeing Barcelona clinch their second consecutive La Liga title. And while collecting several losses on the way, losses to Atletico Madrid, another thrashing, 5-2, losses to Celta Vigo, Osasuna, Getafe, and Mallorca. In the Spanish Super Cup, Real Madrid repeated the same formula as last season, losing at the hands of Barcelona 3-2, which of course saw the sacking of Xabi Alonso and the replacement of him by Arbeloa, aka El Cono or the Cone, who took charge of the club, got knocked out of the Copa del Rey 3-2 against Albacete, a lower division club. 2 seasons in a row, trophyless, a locker room that's fractured, players who are fighting each other, and the troubles continue to mount for Real Madrid. So, of course, the question is, how did this all go wrong? How did Real Madrid go from dominating Spain and Europe to signing the best player in the world and failing miserably over the next 2 seasons? Now, of course, the blame has been laid on Kylian Mbappe. There is currently a petition that states Kylian Mbappe out that has collected 73 million signatures. So it looks like the majority of Madridistas see Mbappe as the clear culprit of this decadence of Real Madrid. And on paper, it makes sense. After all, Real Madrid were successful. Kylian Mbappe arrives. All of a sudden, they're not. PSG were not as successful. All of a sudden, Kylian Mbappe leaves and they went a sextuple. So on paper, it makes sense. But when you dig a little deeper, not so much. Especially when you look at Mbappe's numbers. Because in the 2024-2025 season, Kylian Mbappe scored 44 goals, provided 5 assists in 59 matches. 31 out of those goals came in La Liga, where he finished as Pichichi or top scorer, and 7 of those came in the Champions League, and eventually he won his first ever European Golden Boot. During this season, Kylian Mbappe has scored 41 goals and provided 6 assists in 41 matches, so improving his numbers from the previous season. He's currently La Liga Pichichi or the top scorer with 24 goals, and he has scored 15 goals in the Champions League. Incredibly impressive numbers by someone who's taking all the blame for the failure of Real Madrid. So how does this add up? How can a guy who is being blamed for the failure of Madrid be the same guy who is putting out impressive numbers, some of the best numbers in all of Europe? And well, that's because the issue is a little bit deeper. I don't think Mbappe is the sole reason why Madrid are failing. Instead, it's several reasons that have all combined together to see the downfall of the 15-time Champions League winner. So what are the reasons that Madrid are failing and doing so in a spectacular way? Well, the first issue is tactical balance. Mbappe and Vinicius are both elite players, but they both want to play in the exact same area, the left side. That's where they're most dangerous. That's where they can isolate defenders, cut inside, and attack space. I mean, we've seen it time and time again. The problem is you can't build an entire attack with 2 players occupying the same zone. So what happens? Either Vinicius is forced wider, Mbappe is pushed centrally, or the entire shape becomes distorted. And we've seen all three happen. Instead of complementing each other, they often end up reducing each other's impact. And the imbalance becomes even worse defensively because neither Mbappe nor Vinicius are naturally high-intensity defensive wingers. So when Madrid lose the ball, the midfield and defense are constantly exposed. The second reason, the biggest signing of Real Madrid wasn't Mbappe. The biggest loss was Toni Kroos. Because Kroos controlled everything. The tempo, the build-up, the rhythm, possession, pressure. He was basically Madrid's brain. He was like what Pedri is to Barcelona. Without him, Madrid became chaotic. Now, don't get me wrong, Real Madrid's midfield has incredible athletes. Jude Bellingham, Camavinga, Valverde, and of course, the middleweight champion of the world, Tchouaméni. But none of them control the game the way Kroos did. Madrid can dominate physically while still losing control tactically. And in modern football, control matters more than ever. When things get difficult, Madrid no longer slow games down. Instead, matches become open, frantic, transitional. And that actually hurts them. Reason number 3, defensive balance. When Madrid attack now, they often commit so many players forwards that transitions become dangerous. And because the front line doesn't consistently press together, opponents can bypass Madrid's first line way too easily. This leaves the fullbacks exposed, the center backs isolated, and the midfield constantly sprinting backwards. The scary part, Madrid can still outscore weaker teams because the talent level is absurd. But against elite opponents, well, these structural issues get punished immediately, right? And this is something I consistently talked about on the channel, the need to press. Because when you attack with so many players and you lose the ball and you don't press, well, that leaves you very exposed. And in the case of Real Madrid, that is a serious problem because neither Mbappe nor Vinicius want to press. So that's 2 less players that Madrid have to defend with. So the end result is, well, goal after goal after goal. The fourth reason, the ego problem. We all know that before the arrival of Mbappe, Vinicius Jr. was the star. But we also had a rising star, Jude Bellingham. After all, the Englishman had an amazing season upon his arrival. And then, of course, you introduce a third star, Kylian Mbappe. All of a sudden, there is no enough room for all 3 stars in one locker room. And the result is everybody playing for themselves. And when you have a president like Florentino Perez, who wouldn't allow his coaches like Ancelotti or Xabi Alonso to have the power to discipline and put players in their places, well, the end result is a fractured locker room. A locker room where the players get to do whatever they want, like Bellingham and Vinicius refusing to attend tactical talks by Xabi Alonso, like Bellingham's father walking around the training facilities like he owns the club. And of course, the culmination of all of that, the fight between Valverde and Tchouaméni, and the Rudiger slap at Carreras. So when you add all these problems together, well, you have a recipe for disaster. So why has Real Madrid struggled despite signing Mbappe? Because football isn't about collecting the most famous names. It's about balance. Madrid lost control, defensive stability, tactical clarity, and Kroos' intelligence, while adding another superstar who overlaps with Vinicius stylistically. The result? A team with more talent, but less harmony. And unless Madrid solve these structural problems, this could become one of the most disappointing Galactico eras we've ever seen. But of course, what do you think? Is Mbappe actually the problem? Did Madrid underestimate Kroos' importance? Or will this team eventually figure it out? Let me know in a comment below. And of course, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys in the next one. as always, Peace Barca.